One of the most common reactions to India among visitors from the West is that it's a land of opposites. You've got the modernity, and you've got spirituality. You've got West, you've got East, all these things kind of forming together, which means that just about every film and video that's made about India by an outsider ends up starting with this line: India, land of contrast. And at first glance, Hyderabad would seem to fit the reductionist pattern. Stereotypical shots of lonely, dusty lanes juxtaposed with the chaotic bustle of metropolitan Indian roads. World meets tradition, high-tech meets low-tech, Hindu meets Muslim. So is Hyderabad just a collection of binary opposites? A monochromatic yin and yang of West and East which can't make up its mind about which millennium it wants to join? Or is there more to this city in the South? So let's dive in to find out in this edition of Digital Numpty. Hyderabad was founded in the late 1500s by a Muslim ruler and retained Muslim leadership all the way up until India's independence from Britain, thus explaining the higher concentration of Muslims and Muslim architecture in the southern city. The city also has a higher concentration of Christians than many other cities in India, but they still remain a minority, and though Buddhists are a small minority as well, a statue of the Buddha overlooks the lake in the middle of the city, rounding out the city's diverse collection of religious monuments and holy sites. Such diversity hasn't always come off without a hitch, as violence has popped up over the years in Hyderabad. In fact, on Sunday, when we visited Hyderabad's most famous landmark, Charminar, there was a bit of tension in the air because it also happened to be a Hindu holy day, the birthday of Lord Ram. Parades in honor of Ram were peaceful and by all accounts went well, although a group of rambunctious youths could be seen shouting slogans in Muslim areas and waving their orange banners. Though Charminar is a Muslim site housing the tomb of a revered Muslim saint, right on the backside is a Hindu temple. So Muslim and Hindu devotees come within just feet of each other in order to pay their respects or perform their worship. So green and orange, Muslim and Hindu, right here shoulder to shoulder on a daily basis. Again, with the help of the clearly defined color scheme, it would be very tempting to portray this in the binary light. You've got green, you've got orange, you've got Muslim, you've got Hindu. Pointed example of India, the land of contrast. And no doubt some on both sides would prefer that it remain that way. But I can't help but look at these adjacent holy sites and wonder if at these crossroads of two very different cultures, this may in fact be worth far more than two hermetically sealed communities remaining forever parallel, refusing to interact. Is there contrast? Certainly. And recent events prove that the tension is not going away as some riots have happened, curfews imposed. For as much as our media machine all over the world focuses on those 5 to 10 to 15 days a year where there's communal tension that flares up inordinately, there are 340 to 350 people are meeting at the crossroads. It's an accomplishment, I say. If we can do that, if we can meet at the crossroads, we need to celebrate that more. Even at this nearby juice stand near Charminar, the Technicolor sign serves as a reminder that there are many other colors that all communities are using in our collective palettes. While our cultures do differ greatly, there are some things certainly that we can agree upon. One of the things that does in fact bring all kinds of Hyderabadis together is in fact a drink. Irani chai. It actually predates the famous elaichi and masala varieties of chai available all over the rest of India. Irani chai looks similar to masala chai, but the cup I had was distinct and wonderful. Another thing that brings Hyderabadis together is movies, specifically those created by the Telugu film industry located in Hyderabad. Also known as Tollywood, this film industry is the third largest in India. I got to see the end of my first Telugu film, which looked to be vying to break the record for number of revolving tracking shots and Hitchcock shots in one scene. Tollywood is growing gangbusters with no signs of slowing, with ever-bettering production values and more ambitious projects, and in that way, the film industry can stand as a symbol of Hyderabad itself. Hyderabad is a city on the move, home to a huge number of IT firms, including bases of operation in the region for such big names as Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and many more. But on the outskirts of high-tech city, you can find another unique Hyderabadi feature that stands in stark contrast to the mobility of this city on the move: giant boulders. It's as if in the course of a few hundred meters you travel from Silicon Valley through India and into the frames of some John Ford film. It's out here that I captured a picture that stands as a symbol for me, a symbol of Hyderabad, of India, and by extension our collective human experience. Looking at the downward sloping architecture of the iLab-centered building on the edge of high-tech city, I couldn't help but notice a corresponding sloping in the neighboring boulders. So here we have it. In the place of the cliched contrast between old and new, we have a sort of parallel, a place where the old and the new, nature and progress can exist side by side. There's much work that needs to be done to ensure that this progress doesn't wreak havoc on the surrounding countryside, because Hyderabad's air quality is legendarily bad. In the meantime, these two images will serve as my own Rosetta Stone to interpret this awesome city in the south. On the one hand, a city that presses forward while embracing its rocky past, and on the other hand, a bustling intersection of culture that serves as a meeting place, not just a fork in the road. Live in Hyderabad or or have been to Hyderabad recently and would like to add or correct my naive interpretation of this awesome city, please leave a comment or post a video response and let your voice be heard. And in the meantime, keep it creative, keep it quality, keep it constructive YouTube. And if you haven't experienced India yet, Hyderabad would be a great place to start.